Hi guys, welcome back aboard Spiffy, our 44-foot hurricane damage DIY catamaran project boat. Next week we should hopefully be able to get this big hunk of fiberglass back in the water. But this week we're going to take a few more steps towards getting our new truck ready for the 900-mile trip to North Carolina. This week's video is sponsored by Surfshark. More about them a little bit later. A couple of weeks ago, we introduced you to our $1 Dodge Ram 1500. She is not, nor will she ever be, a museum piece. She is a 20-year-old truck with over 300 miles on the odometer, but she will be perfect for hauling stuff to and from the boat in North Carolina. In the last truck video, we ripped out all of the interior, including the seats, all of the trim, the headliner, and the carpet. Ava then reupholstered the driver's seat. I swapped out the fuel pump twice, but by the end of the week we had a running truck with sound deadening, brand new carpet and partially new seats. The last time I took our lovely blue work truck here for a test drive, I noticed that the wipers weren't working, and the chance of us encountering a bit of rain on the 900-mile trip north to North Carolina are definitely not zero, so let's see if we can fix that. As mentioned previously, I am not really a car guy, but fortunately figuring out what might be wrong with the wipers is not really car related, it's just fault finding. More than likely it is a blown fuse, wiring, or the switch or the motors for the wipers. Our friend Dave, the previous owner of the blue truck, gave us the workshop manual for it, and in that is this diagram of all the brains related to the wipers. And when I say brains, I mean that in the loosest possible definition of the word. It's basically just a bunch of switches in here, but let's start by checking the fuse up here. As you can see, it's number 8. Through a quick bit of counting, the yellow 20 amp fuse down here should be number 8. The fuse looks to be in good shape, and Mr. Multimeter, he agrees. With the ignition turned to on, we're seeing 12 volts between the fuse holder and the frame of the truck. So we know we're getting power to the fuse is not blown. It could still be a wiring issue, like a loose connection or a partially through to wire, but let's for now just assume that it's not. This multi-function switch here is what controls the wipers and also the washers, as well as our turn signals. Truth be told, I checked the fuse a few days ago, so I knew that wasn't the issue. So like any good cooking show, I have gone ahead and cheated a little bit, and I've ordered a new multi-function switch. This is what that looks like. Now, we don't know if the switch is the issue, but this thing was only like $35, and the old one is feeling a little mushy, so I figured there was no harm in replacing it. We're going to be poking around near the airbag, so I popped the hood and disconnected the battery. There's some trim around the steering column we'll have to remove to get access to the switch. It's held together by 3 Torx screws. To remove the top piece of trim, you need to remove the arm that's used to adjust the steering wheel position. The multi-function switch is secured by 2 security Torx fasteners, and of course one of them snapped, turning a quick job into yet another trip to Harbor Freight to get a screw extractor. With the offending fastener removed, I connected the new switch and, yep, nothing. I knew there was a good chance the switch wasn't the issue, but at least now we have a new non-mushy feeling switch. Next on the suspect list was the motor that actually moves the wipers. From the outside, there's nothing to see. It looks a little bit old, but it doesn't appear to be leaking angry pixies nor rust. We are getting power to the motor, so perhaps the motor or the gear is just seized. After a light bit of percussive maintenance, I reconnected the motor, and wouldn't you know it, it sprang back to life. I reassembled the wiper assembly, and this looks very promising. After a quick jaunt to the local parts pusher to pick up some new wiper blades, we got back just in time for some rain, and ta-da! Working wipers.
Now that we have working windshield wipers, there's still a few things we want to get done, like put on a new steering wheel cover, check out the brakes, and get the truck up on a lift. But, oh, looks like we're getting a visit from our friendly neighborhood shark. It's a surf shark. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. Good sharky. Surfshark is a virtual private network. What is that? Well, it's a way to virtually put your computer in a different country or protect yourself when you're connecting to public Wi-Fi. There are many good reasons to use Surfshark. As you know, I've been helping my sister out with my niece in London, and we use Surfshark daily directly on our Apple TV to get my niece's favorite TV shows that are not available in the UK. Depending on where you travel to, some TV shows might not be available, and sometimes entire platforms might not be available. An example of that is Max in the UK. And if you have a young child at home, you know how important it is to have their favorite TV show ready. Surfshark is fantastic for getting access to your favorite TV shows, but it's also great for more serious purposes. For instance, when we were cruising in Europe and I needed to help my parents with their health insurance. That website, along with other government and healthcare websites, was only available in the US. And the only way that we could help my parents is if we virtually put our computer in the US using Surfshark. Go to surfshark.com/saillife or use code SAILLIFE to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Thank you so much to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. And thank you, little Sharky, for being so friendly.
I'd like to have any of the parts of the truck that you interact with be at least nice adjacent, like for instance the multi-function switch from earlier or the steering wheel. I feel like stuff like that makes a big difference in an old vehicle. I pried out the buttons for the horn and taped up the top of the steering wheel. We're going for nice adjacent, not museum quality. For this little beautification project, I ordered one of those wheel covers you sew in place. It seemed like a relatively easy project, right up until we realized that the buttons were going to make it way more complicated. Ava used some double-sided tape that was included with the kit and read the instructions multiple times. Unfortunately, the instructions were rather generic and in no way mentioned what to do if there were any buttons like we have. So we were left to fend for ourselves. Well, we're at the stage in this little mini project where we're slowly coming to the realization that it might not turn out as well as we had hoped.
So it's gonna be a little wrinkly.
There's gonna be some wrinkles.
But we decided we wanted it to be wrinkly.
Yeah. I don't know. Ava asked why we didn't just go with the $5 steering wheel cover from wherever.
She wanted to torture me.
To be honest, that would have been a better choice. We'll see what it looks like when we're finished, but that little spoke thingy around the buttons, I think we're gonna have some wrinkles there. What did turn out really well was this phone holder thingy here. Until we have a dash, I just wanted somewhere to keep the phone so I can see the GPS instructions while we're driving. And yeah, this is just a RAM mount that's secured directly to part of the structure behind the dash. I'm hoping I can use the dash and the blue truck here as a bit of a learning experience for some more CAD stuff, because I have the 3D scanner up in North Carolina. So if I can do a 3D scan of the whole wrecked dash area, then with a bit of experimenting, I should be able to come up with a new aluminum dash in CAD that we can simply just have CNC cut and then rivet that in place. I think that could make for a really fun project. In the spirit of full transparency, that is not an idea I came up with. I found it on this website where you can buy an aluminum dash kit for your truck. The only thing is they want like $1,400 for it, and I think we can do it a lot cheaper. The next day, our friend Tim had secured access to his friend Mark's lift to get a good look under the truck and also to replace the brake calipers. Tim, here seen sporting a very spiffy t-shirt, qualifies as one of the coolest people I have ever met, and he will be sorely missed in North Carolina. The rotors and the pads are brand new, but we figured there was no harm in also replacing the calipers and the brake hoses. The truck won't last forever, but we might as well give her at least a fighting chance. It turned out the shop that had replaced a little bit of the brake line in a previous video did not use the correct type of crimp for the brake line. Luckily, Mark had everything we needed to make the proper crimp, and in no time we had new calipers installed. We did have to replace yet another little piece of brake line that burst. I really should replace all of it as soon as possible. Getting the blue truck up on the lift was awesome because we got to take a good look under it. And as suspected, we have no structural rust issues with the frame, so that's fantastic. But there are a few things I want to fix once we're settled down in North Carolina. First on that list, we have a bunch of rusty brake lines. This one right here is the one we replaced the other day, and as a comparison, down here is one of the rusty ones. And that's what they look like throughout the rest of the truck. So yeah, those are definitely due for replacement. Over here, if we go downstairs, we have a leak from the front axle seal. That is also something that would be nice to fix. In addition to those couple of things, I've also noticed that when the truck's going above, say, 40-45 miles an hour and we shift up into the highest gear, then the whole truck just starts kind of like gag, 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 gag. It only happens when we're in that highest gear, and if I let off the accelerator, it stops immediately. Also, if I disable overdrive, it doesn't seem to happen. So I'm pretty sure it's a transmission issue, but that's also something that'd be nice to fix. If you recall from the first truck video, down here on the headers, we have a couple of big giant holes. As you can tell by the hose clamp and the goop down there, that has been temporarily fixed. But we do have at least part of a permanent fix in stock. These are new short tube headers to replace our long tube headers. Of course, they're not going to be the same length, so we're going to have some kind of fun puzzle where we need to come up with some plumbing to go from this to the rest of the exhaust. So yeah, there is a puzzle hiding somewhere in our future. I was hoping to get these installed before the move to North Carolina, but yeah, that's not gonna happen. We're kind of out of time. We're hopeful that the catamaran will be back in the water in the next week or two possibly, so it's time for us to start hauling all of our stuff up to North Carolina. So that means tomorrow we're going to take this thing and our 2001 Honda CR-V on a 700-mile road trip. Is the truck perfect? Definitely no. Is it ready for the trip to North Carolina? Potentially yes. But before we go, it'd be nice to give it a thorough clean and also get all of our stuff loaded up. Before loading up the truck for the trip to North Carolina, we armed Ava with one of her favorite tools, and she declared war on the green growth that was all over the passenger side of the truck, as well as the loose bits of failed clear coat. This truck, as previously mentioned, will never be a museum piece, but at least we can make sure to clean her up just a little bit. With said cleaning out of the way, we loaded up the vast majority of everything we own and started heading north. Welcome to the great experiment that is the road trip to North Carolina. We're at our first fuel stop, and so far we figured out that the truck is burning not quite, but almost double the amount of fuel compared to the CR-V. In the category of good news, everything is still nice and secure in the bed. We haven't had any major problems. The transmission is making slightly funny noises, but yeah, nothing super alarming so far. Our next stop is about 2 hours away, so let's see if we can make it there. We have made it 477 miles to wherever this is. We've just refueled again, but the check engine light has come on. Knowing the likelihood of that happening was pretty high, I picked up one of these cheaper ones from Amazon. I think this thing was $20 or $30. And the good thing about not having a dash is it's super easy to find the pluggy thingy. The little app has done its magic, and it seems like the engine light is on because of a misfire on cylinder 7. That's not really something that's going to keep us from going, so let's just check one more thing before we go. I just wanted to make sure that the slightly odd behavior from the transmission wasn't due to a lack of fluid. If anything, I think we might have a little bit too much fluid, but there's not really anything we can do about that right now. After almost 800 miles, we made it to North Carolina and promptly unloaded all of our boxes at a storage facility. It doesn't look like that much, but these boxes are very heavy, and the rest of our stuff is aboard the catamaran and also in the tool trailer. Fortunately, it wasn't all work and no fun, because we arrived just in time for the 4th of July parade in Oriental, which was also my first ever parade seen in person. So, the truck and Ava and myself have made it to North Carolina in one piece. The jumping I mentioned earlier in the video from the transmission, where as soon as we got above 45, something like that, the whole truck would go like that, seemed to have disappeared. So maybe we got lucky, maybe we can just do a flush of the transmission fluid and replace the filter and we'll be good. The brakes are still not 100%. We have new calipers, new pads, new rotors in the front. Haven't touched the back yet, but I don't know if that's going to be the explanation, but I would like to take a closer look at the brakes. At some point during the drive up here, it became very apparent that the temporary fix on the headers here has failed. So we definitely have an exhaust leak again. This was never meant to last that long. We do, like I've mentioned, have the new headers in the truck, so we just need to get them bolted on. But I think getting the old ones off might be a bit of an adventure.
Isn't everything with fixing this truck an adventure?
Nope. Everything with fixing this truck is an utter delight and a great learning experience.
Ah, I see.
Other than the few things that we've mentioned that are still wrong with the truck, it has behaved really well on the drive up here. She's 28 years old, so I don't think we can expect all that much, but yeah, so far I am very pleased. Tomorrow, Ava and I and the CRV are driving back to Florida. We are hopefully close to getting the catamaran back in the water. I am so sorry it's dragged out so long, and we are doing our very best to get back to the regular scheduled boat DIY content as soon as possible. And on that solemn promise, we're gonna end this week's video here. I hope to see all you guys back aboard the catamaran next week for some more DIY fun. And as always, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video,
Please remember to leave a like.
See you! And I almost forgot. Thank you so much to Surfshark for sponsoring this week's video. And for those of you interested, as you can see, Athena is doing really well here in North Carolina.